Welcome back, everybody. Today we're checking out part two of the stories behind her biggest songs. On the first part, we checked out the structure of her songs and how she started writing at a very young age. And this is part two. Let's get straight into it.
The Mirrorball bridge, this was Jack sending me a track during COVID and me immediately knowing that it needed to be about how I felt as a performer and an entertainer within this moment when entertainment and art has effectively shut down. I'm still gonna stand on this tightrope. I'm still up on the trapeze. I'm still gonna try to do tricks for you. But at the same time, being a person in the public eye, I've really begun to realize that you are a mirror. Like, you are a mirror for your fans, for the media, for people on the internet, for just people who don't even really care about your music, but they know who you are.
I feel like her at a young age is probably gonna be like the hardest when she's just getting started because it's a lot of eyes on you and fame. I'm pretty sure takes a big toll on
However
you.
they feel about themselves and their life will be projected onto how they perceive you.
Spinning in my highest heels, love, shining just for you.
A public person who makes art is a mirror ball. And that's part of why I've been able to keep my wits about me through all this, because I know that. And I'm really kind of aware of that dynamic, but I'm still endlessly fascinated by people, by the human experience, by why people are the way they are, by the ways that they feel emotion. I think that's what keeps us connected, even though, you can make these kind of like shockingly vulnerable confessions within a song by being like, I've never been a natural. All I do is try. And you say that at first, and I remember writing that and being like, oh my God, this feels like, do you want to say this? And I'm like, actually, I feel like a lot of people feel that way. That always overrides my discomfort with if a line feels too true, because I don't really think that there's anything that's too true.
A very emotional
The
rant.
whole thing with All Too Well was that this was a very emotional rant that I did in like a sound check. We were rehearsing for the Speak Now tour. I was very sad in a way that, you're like 21 years old and you're just like excruciatingly, just like you are. Sadness is you are sadness.
Yeah, she is so
I just,
young at that
in a
age.
break, I just started playing the same four chords over and over again. It's basically the same four chords over and over again for the whole song. And it just became this thing where I just started rambling. And this thing went on for a really, really long time. It was like more than 10 minutes that this rambling rant went on. And it wasn't cohesive and it wasn't really that structured, but it felt afterward like, I think my mom or somebody went up to the sound guy and was like, did you by any chance record any of that? And he was like, yeah, I did. And I would have walked away from it if he didn't have a recording of it. So I went back and listened to it and I was like, oh, here's this 10-minute, like basically catharsis of intense emotion. Like there are some really angry, scathing parts that I was like, kind of gonna have to make this into a song that's a little bit more palatable, because I already felt so like raw putting that song out as detailed as it was. So then it goes out into the world. It didn't make a lot of noise, that song.
Well, is that the song that she's talking about? Rant? Is that an actual song, or is she just talking about what
For
happened?
the first 6 months to a year, but then the fans just did a thing that they've done a few times where this song just keeps bubbling up. They did this with Cruel Summer too, where they're just like, no, we like it. We don't care if a label wants to put it out. We love this one. So I ended up playing it on the Grammys. I made the mistake of kind of explaining how the song came to be in an interview. It ended up being a really fortuitous mistake that turned into being like, oh, I'm so glad that happened. But for years, the fans were like, give us the 10-minute version, give us the 10-minute version. And I was like going back through diaries and finding like little fragments.
So what is she saying, that she made a song, but she put it out to like a short version of it? So there's actually like a longer version out there, right? And like I was saying before, like there's some songs that some fans are gonna like, and some other songs that fans are not gonna like. But every song is not for everybody. And just because the song didn't do extremely well doesn't mean that there's not gonna be people that don't like it. So she's young, she's still learning, but as she gets older, she knows all of this already, of course.
Segments of it, and I didn't have the like old thing anymore. So I was looking through safes trying to find the CD, but I had to go back and piece together lyrics and stuff. But that was the most extensive restoration process I've ever done on a song. I don't think I'll ever experience anything like that again. There are so many different ways that a song begins in my world. I'll take an example like the song Elizabeth Taylor. I'm riding in the car with Travis. I go on and explaining to Travis like why I love Elizabeth Taylor so much. She fought for artists' rights. She was exploited in so many ways, and yet she kept her humanity, she kept her humor, she kept her passion for life. And I'm just going on and on. I'm like, her eyes were violet. Some people said they were blue. Some people said they were violet. I think they were violet. And we arrive, we get home. He gets out of the car, and I'm just in my head, I'm like, this intrusive melody of like, I'd cry my eyes violet.
So are they violet or are they not violet? Can anybody confirm?
Violet Elizabeth Taylor. And I'm just like scrambling to open my record like app on my phone.
Hold on, so she came up with that song as she's driving with Travis on the car. She just got that like vision, got that voice in her head. She's like, I gotta write this down.
That was the most extensive restoration ways, and yet she kept her humanity, she kept her humor, she kept her passion for life. And I'm just going on and on. I'm like, her eyes were violet. Some people said they were blue. Some people said they were violet. I think they were violet. And we arrive, we get home. He gets out of the car, and I'm just in my head, I'm like, this intrusive melody of like, I'd cry my eyes violet, Elizabeth Taylor. And I'm just like scrambling to open my record like app on my phone.
Good thing she had that in her phone.
But that's like one of those spontaneous places where it floats down like a cloud in front of you, and all you have to do is grab it. And the song transpires from there. It comes as if from nowhere. That's a really fun way that songs come about. That's the way it happens most of the time. Another way that a song could happen is that a producer that I love to work with, like Aaron Dessner or Jack Antonoff, could make an instrumental, send it to me, and immediately I'll write what's called a top line on top of it.
I would say like the instrumental does play a big part of music. It's like if a good producer makes a nice beat, melody, instrument, and the artist gets inspired by it, oh, she's gonna kill it. It's like a good instrumental and a good artist like her is just like magic.
That's the vocal melody and the lyrics. Another way of writing songs is that you're in the room with your collaborator, and one of you starts playing something. Like, for example, Jack starts playing this piano part, and it turns into this song called New Year's Day. That piano part was just like enough to springboard the entire song. There's glitter on the floor after the party. Writing sessions is a way that I love to write because you're all in the room, everyone's bringing ideas, everyone's chiming in. I always apply the rule, may the best idea win. I don't care if it came from you, or me. If it's better, that's what goes in the song. And I do kind of like it when people challenge me on something because I never want to be in the room with creators who are afraid that if they have a better idea, like they can't argue with me because it must be my idea that makes it through. I'm never gonna grow that way.
There you go.
Well,
she knows,
I think that,
man. She
the
just knows.
2010s was a time for women in the entertainment industry that like, we need, like, we'll talk about it later. Like, we're all still limping away from that. And I think that conversations are much more healthy now around, there's a difference between art and like going and ranting on an Instagram live. Like there's a difference. This is a song, this takes craft, this takes skill, this takes expertise. But I also am really excited that, like, I'm a massive Somber fan of his songwriting, and his lyrics are so intensely confessional. I don't like want another man's child to have the eyes of the girl I can't forget. Are you kidding me? Like, having a male artist say stuff like that is really good for the cause of women to be able to say stuff. If there's any way we can make confessional songwriting a little bit more of something that isn't like, people take that as sort of like you were being messy or whatever, you have to be fair to everyone then. Are rap beefs messy or are they confessional? Like, we've got to just like, let's make it a music conversation rather than just like ganging up on the female artists. And I think the more male artists that are messy or emotionally complex or confessional or upset, the happier I am. I can only speak to me, but as I've grown up, the intensity of the sort of, no pun intended, message in a bottle nature of my songwriting has shifted and changed into something else. It used to be like, I can't tell a person how I feel, so I'll write it in this song. And that was really important for me at
Like
the
a
time
diary.
that it was important for me. It's also, important when you're in your early 20s and there's someone you shouldn't talk to and you don't want to call them because they're bad for you and it's toxic, so you write it in the song and that's where it lives, like almost as a method of like self-control
Therapy.
or self-preservation or something. But for the Folklore album and everything like that, it wasn't as a response to having a public life and the intrusions that come with that. It was really more of just wanting to challenge myself as a writer. I really have always just thought it would be so amazing to write books. And it's so exciting to have the challenge of, could I get enough plot points in a 3.5 minute song to where people felt like they read something after they heard it, or just take you.
See, that's why she's very successful, because she paints a picture almost like a book, but she compresses it into a 3-minute song. And it's just like, she wants to paint a picture for you and I to see. And that's exactly what she does.
Bedtime story, kind of tell me a story. I want to be able to put my own image on these characters. And it was really amazing when it opened up my world. I don't think my songwriting has ever been the same after Folklore. I have always had a little bit of that sort of character play in my songwriting since. And I hope it never goes anywhere because it's really fun.
You heard the rumors from Inez. You can't believe a word she says. Most
Surviving the
times,
industry.
this time
Uh-oh.
it's true.
I kind of like being a narrator that's not the person I relate to. So the narrator in Clara Bow is either a studio, like a Hollywood studio person, or a label executive who's sitting in my mind behind a desk and meeting with a brand new starlet who's just come to town. The exec says, "You look like Clara Bow in this light. It's remarkable. You're so special, you're amazing, we're gonna make you just like her." In my mind, that girl was Stevie Nicks, right? So Stevie Nicks sits down, they tell her she looks like Clara Bow, she's got those big moon eyes, and we're gonna make you just like her. Don't worry, we're gonna put you through this machine and you'll be a god. The second verse says, "You look like Stevie Nicks in this light, the hair and lips." So in my mind, that was me that sat down opposite that desk, right? I sit down at a record label and they're like, "You look like Stevie Nicks, we'll make you the next Stevie Nicks." And basically, you learn that like you're in this machine and they're trying to make you into a woman that they just idealized and then discarded. Like the entertainment industry love bombs women, right? We love you. We don't know who you are. Why are you even here? And so in the last verse, in my mind, it's a new artist that sits down across from a record label desk and they say, "You look like Taylor Swift. In this light, we're loving it. You've got edge she never did. The future's bright, dazzling." And because that's also another thing that you get when you're a female in the music or the entertainment industry, movies, whatever. It's like, "Oh, you're like this person that we like." They name a big name and they're like, "Oh, but you're gonna be so much better. It's gonna be no, it's gonna be cooler. You're so much better." Like, to offset the comparison. On Red, there was a song that I wrote alone in a hotel room when I was 22 years old called "Nothing New," where it sounds ridiculous, but at 22 years old, I felt completely washed up. I felt like maybe the only thing that made me special was that I was this like teen phenom, whatever I was looked at as. So I wrote this song and it includes lines like, how can a person know everything at 18 and nothing at 22? Because when I was 18, I had the Fearless album come out and I had my first international number ones and everybody was like, "Oh, this
That's a crazy way to put it. I'm not gonna lie. And for her to just write a song about that, that's crazy. Like,
Writing it, it's so true, it's so honest. She feels like she deserves to be here. And then
how can I know everything at 18 and nothing at 21? Is that what she said, right? Let's see.
teen phenom, whatever I was looked at as. So I wrote this song and it includes lines like, you know, how can a person know everything at 18 and nothing at 22? Because when I was
22.
18, I had the Fearless album come out and I had my first international #1s, and everybody was like, oh, this writing, it's so true, it's so honest. She feels like she deserves to be here. And then there was this big upheaval of, no, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. She sucks, actually. And it was like, it really turned the tables on my perception of like, love can be so quickly handed to you and then taken away. And it's this kind of strange thing with fame. And that was the first time I ever grappled with that. Somebody was like, oh, you're 22 years old and you're saying like, are you tired of me? If you're not yet, are you going to get tired of me? Because it's usually something that you would sing about later in life, but the entertainment industry, I'll tell you, there's 10 years for every year you're in it, but it's fun. Songwriting is something that
You want your
it's a
art.
very intimate, tiny little thing for me. I have a lot of things I like to do. I like to bake, I like to make art, I like to paint, I like to sew, I like to write songs. And I try to keep it as like dear to me as those other things I just named. I have to know that like there's certain things that we have as a tradition between me and my fans. They love for an emotional song to be track 5.
Maybe she should do like vlogs. Like, I don't know if y'all seen like Jelly Roll. You know how he does music and all. I've seen him starting to do like vlogging, and a lot of artists are. I think that's a good way to do once you're like, you don't know how long this music thing's gonna last, right? Or how long you're gonna be hot for. And if you're vlogging, that's another way to just keep going and being relevant. And I think people, her fans, want to see what is she up to, like besides music, like more behind the scenes. I think that would be pretty dope. I would watch something like that.
There's like special things like that, but at the same time, there's sort of so many of them now, which is great. But there's corners of my fan base who are gonna take things to a really extreme place. There's nothing I can do about that. There's people who are gonna try to like do detective work, figure out the details. Who is that about? What is this? When it gets a little bit weird for me is when people act like it's sort of like a paternity test. Like, this song's about that person, because I'm like, that dude didn't write the song I did. But that's part of it. You have to
That's part
hold
of it.
tight to your perception of your art and your relationship with it, and then you just kind of have to like, there it goes. Hope you like it. If you don't now, hope you do in 5 years. And if you never do, then I was doing it for me anyway. Yeah, criticism has been a huge fuel for me. It's been a huge jumping off point, like a creative writing prompt or something. There are so many songs in my career that would not exist, like Blank Space would not exist if I hadn't had people being like, here's a slideshow of all her boyfriends. Like, and then Antihero is a song that I'm so proud of still. Like, that song doesn't exist if I don't get criticized for every aspect of my personality that people, have a problem with or whatever.
Did you hear my covert narcissism, like disguises altruism?
My favorite thing when I sit down with new artists or songwriters is I'm like, why are you reading your comments? Like, that's too much of it. Like,
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're in the media and you read comments, you gotta have you gotta be very strong, because if you're gonna be reading those comments, there's gonna be some hateful comments, and that's because you're up there, right? And the more eyes on you, the more there's gonna be haters out there. They're gonna say this and this and that, but it comes with it. And as she knows now, she learned from that. And you just can't pay attention to that. And if you read them, then just scroll past it. Like, it doesn't mean nothing at the end of the day, right?
that's you're inundating yourself with too much criticism that doesn't really have a focus. But I think a little bit of it, you gotta just be like, this is part of it. Like, don't make this make you stop writing or make you edit yourself or whatever.
If
If it's
anything,
an
inspires you
interesting
to
point
get
to you to kind
go
of
harder.
respond to, then that's a gift for you to be
Prove
able to
them
write
wrong.
something. Maybe you wouldn't have written something that day. But don't like, God, don't go to the like notes app and post it. Like write about it. Right, make art about
Exactly. That's what I'm
this.
talking
Don't
about.
respond to like trolls in your comments. That's not what we want from you. We want your art.
That's exactly like let that inspire you to go harder. Very well said. I think this was a good interview and actually made me get to know her a lot more than what her music and how she really structures everything and how she feels about everything. And I feel like this pieced it together to like me knowing Taylor Swift a lot more than just the artist that she is. But really like this interview. Let me know what y'all think down below. And appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'll see y'all on the next video.